Hello, and welcome to AP Taylor Swift,
the podcast for Swifties who love to overanalyze lyrics. We're your hosts.
I'm Jen.
I'm Jody.
and I'm Monty.
And we're your unofficial professors of Taylor Swift.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of AP Taylor Swift. This week, we are doing a deep dive on Antihero. I'm so excited. We've covered this 4 times in 4 different show and tell episodes in our 3 years of this podcast. So it is about damn time to deep dive and go line by line through this song. If you're new here, we do show and tells of Taylor Swift songs. Last week, we covered this song on an episode about mirrors. So we each brought a song of Taylor Swift's that had mirrors in the lyrics, and we explored the literary references and motifs. And now this week, we are going to go line by line through the song. So before we do, to tell us how we do a deep dive, Jen, you want to walk us through what we do here?
Yeah, so we will be using just a framework of trying to think about who's the speaker, who's the I, who are they speaking to, so who's the you, so who are the characters in the story, if you want to go from a narrative point of view, and then what's the overall purpose of the song. So the I is saying stuff about or to the you, and why are they saying that? What are they trying to communicate? And then at the end, we will all come back and say what we think the purpose of this song is. It's often very similar by the end, but I do feel like this song is one that is so self-reflective of what you're in. We might have different answers, and I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, this gets personal. This gets real.
Well, you did define last week Antihero. Jody, do you want to define it again?
Yeah, an antihero is a character that often might do the right things, but for the wrong reasons. So maybe for more selfish reasons. So the classic antihero in literature is Hamlet. Hamlet is seen as a good guy, but who is very in his head and is doing things just for his own self-interest, not in order to help people or to be a better person, not the typical hero, which is why it is an anti-hero. So that's why we covered this song in our Hamlet episode. If you want to go back and listen to that one as well. We also covered this song in Alice in Wonderland, which was episode 3, which is wild.
We're sorry for our audio quality if you go back and listen to that one. We were learning.
The conversation quality is great. The audio quality, not so great. And then we also covered this song in our psychoanalytic theory episode, which I believe was the start of season 2. So there's a lot of different angles that we've taken to look at this song. And now we're just going to go in line by line.
Yeah, I actually really like that we started with the definition because even though it feels obvious, I think it's nice to draw that distinction between an anti-hero does not necessarily mean a villain. It does not necessarily mean the opposite of a hero, but is different. It's about the motive and like what motivates you, I guess. And it's interesting because we do also live in an era where I think a lot of villains are being re-examined and we're getting origin stories of villains in stories, and so you're trying to give the motivation between how a villain becomes a villain, which I think is really interesting. And so it's cool that she came out with this song with this anti-hero theme at this time when we're really examining self and what makes you the way you are and what compels you to take the actions that you take.
Another big just pop culture anti-hero, I know that the show Dexter is a lot of people look at it as the turning point in media where anti-heroes and bad people who sort of have maybe a good heart or some good intentions, but it's the complexity of that.
Yeah.
Dexter was like a turning point because it was so popular where he has this desire to kill, but he directs it towards bad people, murderers, pedophiles, people who you don't really, when you watch the show, I watched the first couple of seasons, you're not particularly sad about those people dying, but it's still not a good thing he's doing, and his motivation isn't great. So it's like he's doing bad things, but to an outcome that you're kind of morally okay with, and it's just really complicated and complex in that way.
I have a less gruesome one. I'm rewatching Younger, and in Younger, Liza is a 40-something-year-old woman who lies and says she's 26 years old because otherwise she can't get a job. And so, like that's a classic anti-hero where she's lying to people she loves, to people she knows. She has a whole career that's based on a lie. But the reason is because she needs a job to pay for her kids' college education and to survive. And so I think she's never seen as a villain in this show, but you do question what she's doing and why she's lying and if that's the right thing. And so I think she's another classic anti-hero.
Well, let's see, I guess, if Taylor's an anti-hero
Let's
here.
do it.
Which it doesn't have to be Taylor, but this seems like a very personal song for her. So we'll probably talk about Taylor maybe more
I
than
don't
average.
know. I went on a limb and said it was about our president.
Okay, well, Monty's gonna have her own analysis that she'll do as a bonus episode.
I just really like that reel, the meme online. Okay, whatever. Okay, the first line is, I have this thing where I get older, but just never wiser. One of my favorite first lines of all time in all of Taylor's music.
It's very
Midnights become my
colloquial.
afternoons. Yes, I have this thing, just this little thing.
Let's read the whole first verse. That way we can go through it.
Yeah.
I have this thing where I get older but just never wiser. Midnights become my afternoons. When my depression works the graveyard shift, all of the people I've ghosted stand there in the room.
I'm getting flashbacks of our Hamlet conversation.
Yeah, right.
I have this thing when I say it, so this is a little bit of my feeling, but I have both a history of an eating disorder and dietary restrictions due to some health stuff. And I typically try to downplay that because it's awkward to explain to people, for example, on a work trip of, let me explain my mental health history and then my actual physical health history and all these things. Now I'll just be like, oh, I have this thing where I have a bunch of dietary restrictions and I just need to eat. It's a total downplay of,
but it's a diagnosis.
Yeah. But it's like real trauma that I'm downplaying.
Yeah.
I thought that this is the famous opening words said to a therapist. Like, if I am talking to my therapist, I'm trying to downplay this thing, but like the thing that I want to talk to her about. It's like, I am here to have a conversation because of this thing. So it's like, I have this thing where I do blah, 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 blah. Like, that was the first thought that came to my head. Was it almost, you could imagine like sitting there talking to somebody and you're about to divulge something that's a little vulnerable that you maybe don't want to share or wouldn't have shared, but you need to get it out there.
Yeah.
And so exactly what you're saying, Jen, is you downplay it to make it seem insignificant.
Minimize, not even downplay. You're minimizing something.
Yeah.
I get older but never wiser. Midnights become my afternoons, meaning like I don't sleep, or either I don't sleep or my whole day is turned upside down so that I'm an insomniac and can't sleep at night, but I'm sleeping during the day.
Or you're waking up in the evening because you're sleeping all day. Yeah, like
right, like whatever
you know, like
it is,
the
like,
really dysfunctional where you're like, you woke up and it's already 7 p.m. and you're like, well, shit. And now what normally would be lunchtime is midnight.
Yeah.
I love the phrase too, just older but never wiser. It's such a common thing of, oh, another year older, another year wiser, or on people's birthday getting the text of like, well, what did you learn? Like, do you feel wiser now that on this day you're another year older? Like, it's just a common joke that I don't think people really mean. But the idea of I get older but never wiser. It's also some stasis, which again, with mental health, I get where it's like, oh, it's been a year. What did I do? Am I better now than I was this time last year? I don't know if I was surviving. I was in survival mode. I was not becoming wiser. I was simply making it day to day is what it sort of evokes to me because of the downplay. I have this thing where I get older but never wiser. Is like I have been trapped in this emotional stasis for a year, but it's just a thing I have. Whatever, it's fine.
Or some sort of like a Peter Pan syndrome where you're like, I'm a young boy and I'm just gonna be free and I'm avoiding responsibilities. Your
Peter Pan voice really added to that characterization.
Yeah, really, you know, young boys sound like that.
I'm a real boy.
Listeners, we haven't recorded.
By the way, that's from Shrek.
Listeners, we haven't recorded in a hot minute, so this is also just us being excited to hang out with each other. So
this is the most fun that I have in my life, honestly, really.
Good. I see older but never wiser also as I'm not learning. Like, I'm not learning. I'm not growing as a person. Like, I'm not learning from my mistakes.
Seem to make the same mistakes, yes.
Yeah, I'm making the same mistakes. Midnights become my afternoons. I'm not sleeping. And then we get an actual, I mean, who knows if it's a clinical diagnosis, but when my depression works the graveyard shift. Like, so it's keeping me up at night. Like, the graveyard shift is when you're working nights. So again, we get the midnights become my afternoons. So you're awake at night. Your depression keeps you up at night.
Or it's even like working the graveyard shift as you're working overtime. The depression is not, there is no break. This is a
Yeah.
24-hour diner.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the depression's gonna take me to my grave. Like, it's almost like
Yeah, that's another
round
one.
the clock. Yeah, I definitely get depression working overtime, but also like impacting, like really getting in the way between the second, like midnights become my afternoons, and depression working the graveyard shift is like, this is really getting in the way of my life, which kind of takes me back to the therapy monologue of like a confession.
this
Like,
thing.
it's like we need intervention. Like, we have gotten to a point where this is getting in the way. And I just want to talk about that little thing today.
Yeah.
There's a sense of deep exhaustion, a complete lack of rest because of this little thing she has.
And then we get to all of the people I've ghosted stand there in the room. So until this point, it's the effect is on her, what's happening just to her. And now we're seeing an effect on other people. The people I've ghosted stand there in the room. If you haven't dated in a while, ghosting is when somebody just like a bit like just stops talking to you all of a sudden.
Friends ghost all the time.
Okay, well now it's colloquially used for friends, but it started
with dating.
with
Yes.
dating.
Well, I think that's interesting. You said something interesting, Jody, which is you're like, the other things are happening to you and now this is affecting somebody else. But I interpreted this as the people I've ghosted are standing in the room as also like something in your head. It's like they're haunting me. It's kind of a way to say like everybody that I have ghosted is now haunting me.
Hmm.
And that
But
is like that's a me problem.
I think it's a bit of both to tie this two together, where she is haunted by realizing that her actions have had an impact on
Yes.
others. I'll
Mhm.
even admit it safe group here of it was recently where I had kind of disappeared for a couple weeks and I had to ask you two to take something on for the podcast, and I just straight up said, I'm so sorry, you guys, I've had a depressive episode. And you guys were both like, no worries, I'll
what do you
pick it
mean?
up. Which, like,
Did
one,
not know we had
appreciate.
been ghosted, Jen.
I know, but you
She
did.
was quiet. I knew something was up because she was
Yeah.
unusually quiet.
I was
As the
having-
resident quiet person, I did not notice. I was like, oh, great.
But you guys did pick up the slack, which I do really appreciate, and shout out to you two for being friends for that. But it feels like there's this like moment of realization of, yeah, there's this helplessness that can happen where you can see yourself going through an action where you're like, I need to do this. I should respond to this person. I should drink water. I should shower and bathe myself. But you can't do it. And it's like she is haunted by the knowledge of, I haven't done the stuff I need to do. I've probably hurt people. But
It's guilt.
again, stasis, you're stuck. It's hard.
Yeah. I completely, I felt so deeply this feeling that you're describing, like the whole time I was pregnant. I've like never bailed on anybody. And then I just went under the grid for months. And this idea of like guilt of like you're letting people down. I think it's really interesting that she's saying that they're standing in the room for a few reasons, because first of all, just the visual imagery of ghosting, like, and in the music video, it's like her brother and somebody else, like literally wearing these sheets, and they're the silliest ghosts you've ever seen. Ghosts don't stand, and it's interesting because like
They hover and float.
she's the one. It's like she's the one that has done the ghosting, but the people who are haunting her are like all around her, and I think there's this imagery of like, what would compel those people to be in the room? Is it just in your head? Are they actually physically there? Like, are you suddenly now encountering them? Like, what if there's a situation, maybe quite literally, where you were avoiding a group of people and now all of a sudden you get thrown into a situation where you have to face them? How often has that happened where you're like, shoot, like these are all people I've been avoiding for months and now here they are. So I think there could be a metaphorical, like we're talking about things that are going on in our head for sure. But I think there's also this thing of like, what's happening in your life right now where you feel like you're having to face these ghosts, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think there is like some societal expectation there, which I think we'll get to some more of that stuff later. But the idea of this communicates a sense of obligation of, I should have responded to these people and I didn't. well, who said that? Who set that expectation? Did you
Right.
set it for yourself? Do these people, like you two said, neither of you were mad at me, and I felt so bad, and I was like, I just need to tell him I can't do this right now, and neither of you care. Like, you care about me, but you weren't like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, this task.
You ruined it
And
all, Jen.
yeah, there's this like self-imposed
Yes.
expectation of I need to do these things, and then you can't do the things you expected yourself to do, and then you're haunted by your own expectations. Like, it's just as bad.
Yeah, it's a cycle, which I think gets to the next verse. I should not be left to my own devices. They come with prices and vices. I end up in crisis, tale as old as time. I wake up screaming from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving because you got tired of my scheming for the last time. So just what you were saying, Jen,
Yeah.
about this like pattern and this spiral that you end up in. It's like, yeah, I shouldn't be left to my own devices. You shouldn't be left to just sit there and spiral that, oh my God, I'm ghosting these people. Just tell us. Just communicate. And it's fine because otherwise you end up in a crisis because it's in your head and it's the snowballs into something so much bigger than it actually really is. And that's the price. That's the price you pay for being in your head. Yes.
Are you
Jen.
telling me avoidance is not the solution, Jody? That can't possibly be true.
I am interested in the use of the term devices because of our conversation that we had on last week's episode.
Social
But we were
media.
talking about social media and the role that plays in our own reflection.
Whoa,
Look at that.
Monzi.
I never thought of it that way.
That's so good.
Look at that.
Like, we're talking
Wow.
about identity and how you see yourself and how
Yeah.
others see you. And it's just really interesting about being left to my own devices. It's a double meaning. It could be just being left on your own. But then there's also something about the spiral. Like, I definitely notice when I'm going through spiral, sometimes it's like more getting sucked into social media sometimes when you're on your own.
Yeah.
And is that just like perpetuates it even more. So I think that's really interesting.
And it is addicting. There's been times I've been scrolling where in my own head, I am thinking to myself, I don't want to be doing this anymore.
yeah.
But then I like can't stop doing
Oh, they
it.
just
Okay,
lost a
well-
lawsuit, literally, where
Yeah, in
like
California.
it is addicting, like
Yeah.
proven in court, and now they have to
Not
make it less
sponsored.
addicting.
Not sponsored, but I love my brick. Actually, my phone is bricked right now, so I cannot
You're the
after
second person that's talked to me about Brick in the last few weeks.
yeah, between 9 p.m. and 8 a.m. or something like that. I brick dating apps, Slack, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube,
Yeah.
Street Easy,
right.
which is like the New York City Zillow. Anything that like I can just go on a spiral on. And it really helps. But what was else I going to say? Oh, I just read an article, a Substack that Lena Dunham, Taylor Swift World, wrote about how she actually hasn't been managing or posting her own Instagram for years. She's had somebody else like, as her social media manager acting as her because she couldn't handle, not from a like, oh, I'm a celebrity and I need somebody else doing it, but she hasn't had
Couldn't
the
use it.
password to her Instagram because she didn't want to be on it because it is so self-destructive to go down these rabbit holes of social media. So she hasn't actually been using it because
I think it's
a
so
device
sad.
that is a vice.
It's sad that she like feels the need to hire somebody to like upkeep it in this day and
To
age.
keep it up,
you,
that even the
you
fact that you
need
have
to
to-
have it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that itself is silly.
Yeah.
But also, by the way, applies less to men. Somehow there's a lot of male celebrities that don't have social medias and are perfectly fine. It doesn't affect their lives. So there is that.
Anyway,
Different days discussion.
patriarchy.
Okay,
Tale
the
as
other
old as
thing-
time.
yes,
that's a
that's
nice
the
little,
other thing I wanna go, like,
Beauty and the
Let's
Beast
unpack
reference.
that there's a lot. Like, should we talk about quick synopsis of Beauty and the Beast? But why is that reference here?
Because because the spiral, that whole pattern of I shouldn't be left to my own devices. They come with prices and vices. I end up in crisis. That's a tale as old as time. This whole like thing that she has where she ends up in a spiral is a tale as old as time, that this is just going to happen again and again and again.
Yeah, but
It's also
just
like
a specific reference that I don't know.
but it's also, we talked about this in our Alice in Wonderland episode, and it feels to me like she is creating this sort of effed up fairy tale imagery where she's saying, this is my fairy tale. I have this success, this fame, but it comes with these consequences. It's like the darker side, a twisted
It's
fairy tale.
Grimm's.
It
This
feels
is
like.
Grimm's fairy tale. This is like the
Yeah.
OG fairy tale, not the
Well,
Disney-ified version.
maybe. The tale as old as time, though, I don't think is referenced in the old one, right? Is that a quote? We should
No,
look
it's
up if
literally a
that's
song.
It's literally just a song. Yeah, no, I know, but I wasn't sure if that was an actual
But I'm
quote
saying,
in
like,
the. There's the reason that I am asking the question is because I have a thought, obviously, about it.
You're
It's just
allowed
not
to
just
have
a
those.
vapid question. I like the whole story of the Beast is like he is this jerk of a human, gets cursed, turns into a monster, but then like leans into that monster character because he's ugly. And there is something about the fact that he's like, woe is me, nobody will love me, I'm a monster, I've been cursed, everyone will leave me. His staff actually loved him, and that's why they stayed, even though they also all get turned into other things. But they were actually very loyal to him because I believe they liked their master, but then they become scared of him because he's a beast. And there's something about here where like we're talking about an anti-hero, we're talking about motives, and we have this character in the song who is like, I'm the problem, we're gonna get to it later, but the way that she's thinking about herself is morphed. She like has a lot of issues with her appearance. Maybe that's where the devices thing is coming from. And we're saying that everybody will just keep leaving me because I'm the problem. And that tale as old as time is like, I feel like there's a parallel almost being made here to the Beast itself. Very specifically, not just like this cycle is a tale.
There is also the mirror. I know this isn't our mirror episode now, but we did it last week. But when he sees, he'll look at himself and he hates it. And there are no mirrors really
Yeah.
around as much in the castle where he
Yes.
doesn't want to see his reflection. He's
It's tied with
avoiding looking at
appearance.
himself.
Yeah.
And
we
it
need to do a
is-
Beauty and the Beast episode, and we'll bring this back a 5th time.
And because she's avoiding looking at herself in the song, which we know and we're going to get to in a second. But I do think that reference of, I think when he's cursed, the witch basically says you will look, basically your soul will become your appearance. And so this is the truest
bringing
form
the ugliness in the inside out
to outwards. So it could be that of, oh, I might be kind of not as pretty as I like to appear.
Then we get to the Freud section of the song. I wake up screaming from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving because you got tired of my scheming for the last time. I call it the Freud section just because it's a dream. And anything with dreams, I think of Freud.
This isn't as much about the lyrics, but I do think, just as we're reading through it again, that the rhyme pattern,
I love it.
I was just going to say rhyme scream.
It gives a sense of that repetitive cycle in some ways. I should not be left to my own devices. They come with prices and vices, and I end up in crisis. Tales old as time. I wake up from screaming, from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving because you got tired of my scheming for the last time. Like it feels like it's like I'm doing this again and again and again and again.
Yeah, it's like really like hammering it home. There's a rhythm, a very steady, like continuous rhythm that it's like this is repetitive. It's not going away.
I also feel like
really Claude intervention because I just put in like what's this rhyme scheme. So it uses an irregular conversational rhyme scheme that varies by section. So this is so cool. Verses use loose internal rhyme and end rhyme, often in triplets or couplets. Older and Wiser is a slant rhyme. Afternoon's Room is a very loose slant rhyme. And then the second verse, which is, I believe, what we're on right now, is a tight AAA triplet pattern: devices, vices, crisis, then dreaming, screaming, leaving, scheming, which is a 4-line AAAA. And then it goes into ABCB, which is a classic ballad. I'm like, is this actually Beauty and the Beast? And now they're just dancing.
I love when you do this, Modsy. When you pick an interpretation and you're like, how can we make it work? And I love
how like there's an actual graveyard in this thing, and you're like, you didn't say you didn't get on a death thing.
Oh, I mean, we have a lot of the song left, but I think what's really interesting. Claude, I'm giving credit to Claude. This is not my own thoughts.
Yeah,
but
that way also if it's hallucinated, we can blame Claude.
It's saying poetically it resembles free verse with structured refrains. And I think that and then it says that they're the parenthetical asides, like tale as old as time or for the last time, function almost like a Greek chorus commenting ironically on the main voice. So actually, like, kind of going back to the free verse thing made me think again of just like, if you're talking to a therapist or you're telling somebody your story, there is something very conversational, right, about this, but then the rhymes are giving it this rhythm and giving, like, it kind of creates a sense of stress, like,
It's
you
very
know,
stressful feeling.
anxiety. Yeah, it's like we're started off talking freely, and now all of a sudden we're like rhyme, 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 rhyme. It's like it's adding to that anxiety all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was the parentheticals was what I wanted to point out too, where it feels almost like an eye roll at herself in some ways of I end up in crisis, tale as old as time. That thing you do when you're in therapy and you say something really vulnerable and you're like, haha, but that's just me, where you kind of make a
Yeah,
joke.
finger guns.
You're like, haha, and they're like,
I'm sure
we should
everyone
dive
does
into
it.
that.
And then she's like, no, it's definitely just you.
She's like, no, this is what we need to be talking about. Gloss over that thing that you just ran right past. Also, this is my therapy dog. So, we ready for the chorus?
I do want to point out just
That's a no.
narratively.
That's a no.
Sorry, no. I'm not. You need to slow down. You need to calm down. Just narratively, I wake up screaming from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving because you got tired of my scheming for the last time. So there is this narrative story here where she sees herself as a schemer and that someone is going to leave her for it. Yet
Negative language.
it's negative, but yet we are getting this that it's happening in her dreams. So this is the Freudian, the subconscious of it's from so far in this narrative. When she's awake, she's not analyzing this or working through this of, am I scheming too much? Or let me talk to my partner and say, hey, how are you feeling? Let's work through this. It is a dream. So it's a deep fear that she does not seem to be confronting in day-to-day life, but yet it is haunting her dreams, one could say, in a similar way as she's haunted by everything else. So it does feel like so much avoidance so far in this story of I was going to say story of self-reflection, a story about how there isn't self-reflection happening. It's just avoidance. And then we get to the chorus where it's still not really self-reflection. It takes a turn, but I can read it. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. At tea time, everybody agrees. I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. It must be exhausting, always rooting for the anti-hero.
Thesis.
It feels like so narcissistic almost. Like, you know, when you are saying, like, I think this is a problem, but what you're saying, Jen, is like, you're not actually being self-reflective. You're just like, it's almost like avoidant by taking responsibility. It's like at a surface level, like you're not really examining what the issue is or what we need to unpack. You're just like, I'm the problem, obviously. Like, let me just summarize this in a nutshell. Like, we don't need to dig into it. Clearly, the problem is me. I'm diagnosing the issue. It feels a little like that.
I see it as the opposite way of saying, like, not from a narcissistic, I'm the problem, it's me, but in like I understand that I need to figure this shit out and I can't. Like, more of a paralysis than a narcissism. And this acknowledgement that I get it. I'm the one with the problem. Like, you know, the whole, like, it's not you, it's me. Like, that's kind of said sarcastically. Here, it's like, no, like, it really is me. I have some shit that I have to work through, but I can't. I am stuck. And I know that everybody else knows that it actually is me. It's not them. I can't look at the mirror. I can't face myself and I can't face what I need to in order to work through this shit.
See, and I see it a completely different third way.
See, here we go.
Yeah. To me, it's not flippant, but it's kind of I don't want to deal with this. I see this big pile of mess. So whatever, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Everybody can agree I'm the problem. Let's just move on from this. If I just take the blame for everything, can we stop? I don't even want to deal
People
with this.
pleasing. So you have the people-pleasing
You're the
definition.
people-pleasing. I'm in a, like, self-pity because, like, clearly the world revolves around me bucket, and then Jody is in a, like, a more authentic, I feel like, what I was getting from you, Jody, of, like
Well, and I think for the one I see, it's not even that it's people-pleasing. I think there's a little bit of growing up religious of, like, yeah, I'm a bad person. We all are. So yeah, sure. Just, like, pile the blame on
minimizing.
me.
Yeah, like, kinda downplay,
Yeah.
continuing to downplay a little bit.
Yeah, continuing to downplay, and also this, there's parts of Christianity that'll say, like, everyone's born a sinner and broken, and so it's just being like, yeah, I'm broken. Sure, whatever. Like, I don't the nuance and the gray can feel too hard sometimes. My personal OCD likes things to be black and white. My therapist is always like, what if you just don't know the answer? What if you don't know if it's right or wrong and it's just in the middle? And I'm like, I'm gonna literally throw up because you just said that. That is the worst thing I've ever heard. She's fantastic. And it was she was like, what if it's just like, and I was like, what was it? It was, I think it was like buying something. And she was like, if you bought something from Target, what if it's like neither here nor there? You don't have to boycott Target, but you can sort of try. But like, what if it's just like you're just buying a thing and that's all it is? And I was like, huh. But what if it's like the wrong thing to do? And she was like, it's fine. And I was freaking out. Truly not a big deal. However, all of that to say is, when you want everything to be black and white because you need that clarity from either a religious background or a personal background, it does feel almost easier to just say, fine, I'm a bad person. That's easier than for me to have to wade through the nuance of gray. I need this, fine. If it's black and white, I'm on this side. And you're telling me this is gray? Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. I'll be the bad person.
And this is the beauty of music and art, because we each are already coming to this from our own perspectives. And here's a great example of like 3 very different people with very different psychological situations, I'll call it, that all see this very differently, but the song still resonates.
So, and I think right now, I'm very on the fence of like, this is where I'm coming at it from, but I am willing to question.
No, I think yours comes up, Monty. Like we'll get there.
Yeah. I don't say I'm right. I'm saying I read that line.
This is how I feel.
This is, yeah. Like first reactions for all of us. And then let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Because the next line, I'm curious, Jody, with how you read it. What does that mean what do you read into the next line of at tea time, everybody agrees?
Alice in Wonderland.
Because I read a lot of anxiety in that. Of like, I am the problem. But and for me, it's like, I'm bad. Everybody knows it, sort of that kind of thing.
I see it as like everybody's talking about me and things, and like they all know. Like we all know that I'm the one that has shit to deal with.
But that's actually so Alice in Wonderland is a little different than everybody's talking about it, right? So I know you said that jokingly. I know you said that jokingly, but I want to pick on it. I want to pick on it because it was a good point. And so okay, like I agree. Like I had originally always thought of this as at tea time, the Sarahs and the Hannahs and whatever, they're like everyone's talking, and it's almost like a little overly conscious of the fact that everyone's talking and being really self-conscious of the fact that people are saying certain things. And you're like, I just know everybody agrees. That's what they're saying. But there is the Alice in Wonderland reference of I'm the problem. At tea time, everyone agrees. And at tea time in Alice in Wonderland, we're all mad here. And we're pulling on this thread of sitting with the therapist and talking about our issues and trying to minimize them, but knowing we have problems. And this idea of like, is it just like we're all crazy? Is it that we agree that we're all crazy, or is it just that I'm crazy? I think this is like, it's not a bad idea to think of it in that term. Tea time is so specific.
Well, and then to go back to your device's double meaning though, and the idea of we're all mad here. Again, social media, baby. We're all mad here.
And then tea times is also when people exchange rumors.
Yes.
Like the tea.
Yeah. Oh, spill the tea.
Yeah.
Like when it comes down to gossip, this is a thing.
Also, but I do think in Beauty and the Beast, Chip is a teacup.
We are figuring this
Jody
out.
is like, y'all, it's 9 p.m. Y'all need to wrap this up. That was the signal that she just gave right now.
I love that you all know me so well to know that, like, not only
that
is it
was
9
code
p.m.,
words
you're like,
for y'all
Jody.
need to shut up and keep moving.
No, but really, I do want to do a Beauty and the Beast episode.
I'm all for it. Because there's also the original fairy tale. Anyways.
Okay.
But I do
that's
think
what
with
we
the
should do.
devices, the idea of I shouldn't be left to my own devices because if I am, I'm scrolling through and watching tea time. I'm watching people spill the tea,
I'm watching
share the
everybody
gossip,
talk about me.
and everybody say I'm the problem. So everyone agrees. I went, I looked, everyone says I'm the problem.
It feels narcissistic to me.
Okay,
like,
we'll get there. You've
I'm
got
just
2 more
slammed
verses until we get to that
on
point.
slam. Okay. Yeah, I do love the superlatives. Everybody agrees. I'm the problem. Like, everything is so heightened and extreme, right? That's consistent.
That's anxiety. That's
It
like
is anxiety.
the definition of my anxiety.
I'm not saying I think it needs to be read this way, but I do think there's 2 ways to read this of it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. At tea time, everybody agrees. And then there's a way to say it, it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. At tea time, everybody agrees, I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. So there is a way to say, to potentially read it that everyone agrees that I'm this narcissistic, that I'm never going to take care of myself, that I'm the problem. And it could be read in a tug in the cheek of like, it must be exhausting always rooting for the anti-hero because you all agreeing at tea time, but you're still supporting me. So must be exhausting.
That is interesting. Yeah. Okay. So it must be exhausting always rooting for the anti-hero is like, who's rooting for the anti-hero? You're saying it's the other people.
It's everyone at tea time.
Everyone at tea time who agrees that I'm crazy, but they root for me anyway.
Yeah.
We are at tea time. We're everybody to Taylor.
This podcast is tea time.
We are tea time. We're
rebranding.
rebranding.
Tea for Taylor.
We're rebranding.
Or time out.
I mean, yes.
That's a sports reference, but
okay.
Whatever. Not my audience.
Or if we go with the presidential reference, tea time.
No, moving on. Sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby, and I'm a monster on the hill. Too big to hang out, slowly lurching toward your favorite city, pierced through the heart, but never killed.
Okay, do either of you watch 30 Rock?
No. I have, many years ago.
There's an episode where they...
Yeah, the sexy baby episode.
Yeah, that is all I think about. We'll link it in the show notes. But there's a woman who comes on as a guest writer who has basically come up with a fake identity so that her abusive ex will stop stalking her. And so she like acts very sexy so that men will be around her so she feels safe. And Tina Fey's character is trying to get her to stop being sexy. She's like, you're not being a feminist enough. And then it obviously reveals that has her reasons. But at one point she says, I'm a very sexy baby. And that's all I think about.
Because when this song came out, that's like everyone was like, oh my God, was she inspired by 30 Rock? Tina Fey should get a writing credit. But sometimes I feel we go back to the therapy thing.
That's
like I have this thing. Sometimes I feel.
It is very conversational still, and it's very in line with that line of thinking. This stanza to me is, I mean, I know this entire song is personal, but this one feels the most obvious to me in terms of how it relates to Taylor's life. I would definitely say that if I think about like the next generation of pop stars, sexy baby is a great word to describe the entire personality of the next generation of pop stars.
Olivia Rodrigo, around the time of recording, recently released her newest single.
Yeah.
And in her music video, she's wearing a baby doll dress, which is a totally reasonable fashion choice to make. But then people, the conversations online are like, oh, she's infantilizing herself. And it's like, it's a dress. But is wearing it.
Sabrina Carpenter wears them a lot on her tour.
Yeah. Baby doll dresses are in for that.
I think the baby voices were very in with the next generation of singers. There's like this little like, even like a little tiny bird. Yay.
The voices on these episodes are really...
Yeah, Monty's
secretly an impressionist. No, that's not the right meaning of impressionist. Okay, ignore that entire monologue. And the monster on the hill is on the hill, over the hill, like
Yeah.
Over
all
the hill is
above.
when you turn 40 in scientific terminology. Overhill birthdays. Do you remember we threw one
Shouldn't
for
it
my
be now
dad?
like 50?
It
Because
should. I agree. But we threw one for my dad when he turned 40. And in retrospect, that was so mean. But
My parents were
that was a
40 when they
thing
adopted
then.
me.
yeah, no, I think
That was a thing back then.
as the life expectancy goes
Increases,
up,
yeah.
yeah, so now it's 50.
But I still think for her to make a comment of being on the hill is interesting, not quite over it, but she's definitely on it. Makes a lot of sense. The idea of being a monster on the hill, like this decrepit, bent over.
But
Well,
like
there's
also this huge thing, like a monster,
Huge thing, yeah.
somebody's, but also like an outsider trying
Frankenstein
to
reference,
right
Frankenstein's monster.
Frankenstein, someone
The
who like
monster is called the monster.
too big to hide, but also like wants to too big to hide, but also too big to hang out. Always
Yeah.
visible.
When Taylor came to Indianapolis for the Eras Tour, so Indianapolis has this big hotel that's one of the Marriott hotels, and they like to put massive, massive things on the side of the hotel. And so there was this picture of Taylor that was huge, and people started posting lyrics to the song and saying, yeah, she is a monster on a hill. Not saying it in a bad way, but how crazy would that be to your brain to see yourself in this 100 times version of you?
More than 100. Oh my god.
Yeah, and you can't. How do you live up to that? How do you have that talking about mirrors of that's your mirror, but it's the monster on the hill version of yourself, and you see it over and over and over again.
And she mentioned that in the documentary. Like in the
Yeah,
documentary,
she
she's
did.
Oh, yeah,
like
she did
that
mention it.
is that's how I feel
Yeah.
sometimes, just like so big and just like lurking over everything and like too
I mean, there's
big
something, if we go back to Freud, I mean, there's something there about like the ego being larger than yourself, you know, like what are the different phases of yourself? Is there a version of yourself that is looming over and just so much larger than life? And you could argue that the personification, like her persona is bigger than her,
yes.
right? Like her brand, the Taylor Swift, like first name, last name, the pop star, is huge. I think in the context of the everybody is a sexy baby, though, the monster I'm thinking is less about the big positive persona and more about like an old, decrepit, destructive, ugly thing that nobody wants, right? So going back to the Beast, for example, I really sense, and I know in her music video, it was just her beautiful version, just in a large form. But the terminology here is really, I'm a monster on the hill. On the hill, to me, I'm reading an age. And then too big to hang out, slowly lurching. Lurching is such a visual, visceral term. Towards your favorite city, like there's two monsters that I can think of that destroy cities, and that's Godzilla and King Kong. And neither of them are beautiful. And so that's kind of the imagery that she's creating here.
Yeah, and I think it actually can be a bit of both. I think that you could also argue that just because she is physically beautiful, there are a lot of monsters that are beautiful but do a lot of harm in fairy tales. Going back to the evil stepmother of last week, where we talked about the mirrors of she is fair. She's just not the fairest of them all, so she destroys. And the idea that to Taylor, her persona, her public persona is a monster doesn't seem unreasonable. It may be beautiful, it may look great, but it may feel like a monstrous version of herself if she just wants to stay at home and bake and make music, but it's morphed into something. And you even think about everything that happened with the Reputation era, and she did have a giant snake on the stage, and she did take on a more monstrous persona of the mother of snakes and all that stuff, where she's played with that the public perception of her is almost too much to bear sometimes.
Oh, that's so interesting, because I actually just caught that the lyric is slowly lurching towards your favorite city, and it almost sounds like a tour announcement, like coming soon to a city near you. Like, here's the old monster again. Everybody's like, there comes
And you
Taylor.
just mentioned the snake pierced through the heart but never killed. I think of the basilisk.
Well, and it's also too big to hang out. So all of this is saying everyone's a sexy baby, but I'm this freak. I'm too big to hang out.
Right.
So it's hard to have friends. It's hard to have a normal life, but I'm lurching towards your favorite city, and you can keep throwing shots at me, but you can never kill me. And we've talked about this with her music, how her music is and art in general can immortalize things. So Taylor Swift will someday the person die, but Taylor Swift, the brand, could live on
Right.
forever in the same way that we have lots of artists who are no longer with us, but we still listen to their music. We make movies about them. We talk about them. We engage in their art. So there is this like separation there.
But
Jody,
pierced
you
through the heart
mentioned
but never killed can also be that I'm hurt and wounded,
yeah.
but never killed, meaning I just keep getting hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think it's
that's
both.
yeah.
But I also thought about you mentioned pierce through the heart as the basilisk, like the snake, and then she
Yeah.
has that visual imagery of the snake bursting into
Yes.
butterflies too, and so like just evolved. You just change. You keep
Yeah.
getting pierced, but rather than dying, you just have to keep going in a different form. Yeah,
can
this
keep
is
going.
brutal. This is a brutal verse. It
Yeah.
feels very mean to herself,
But then
but also
in the
like a success story.
well, and then I want to get to this next verse because it goes back to what you were saying, Monty, about the
Yes.
chorus.
She's
Did
asking me
you
a
hear
question, and the
Yeah.
answer is yes.
Yeah. Did you hear my covert narcissism I disguise as altruism like some kind of
Yes!
congressman?
Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. And so I go back to like, yeah, I think our conversations, we each had a different interpretation of the chorus. And the answer is yes to all of them because, yeah, thinking about yourself as the problem and this whole song is kind of a covert narcissism. But also, like, one could say going to therapy and talking about yourself and your problems is narcissistic. I don't think so, but you could look at it that way.
Well, narcissists
this-
also seek therapy, though. So there's a distinction because it's not.
Not for good reasons. Not
I mean, sure, but the reasons is the whole point of the antihero.
narcissists don't seek therapy thinking
They-
that they have a problem. They seek therapy thinking other people are the problem.
Yes,
So
but
a true narcissist would never say that they are the problem.
Well, yes, but unless they're like saying it and like clearly I'm the problem, so that's why I'm here. But they don't believe.
But they
it.
never mean it.
They never mean
Yeah.
it. Yeah, but that is what I'm saying. I'm saying that like that was my interpretation of like it's me. I'm the problem.
I think this
I'm
person
here.
is too self-aware to be an actual narcissist, but that's my own interpretation.
Well, and
Ooh.
this really resonates with me and my anxiety over essentially, am I sinning? That's where the core of my anxiety is. So this anxiety of, okay, did I do everything wrong? Do I need to do this better? Oh my gosh, am I being narcissistic by only caring about what I'm doing and how I'm impacting people?
If
I
you're
shouldn't
thinking
be
that, the answer
narcissistic
is
about
no.
that. Yeah, but that's, to me, it reads like that of like, oh, here's everything I'm doing wrong. Oh my gosh, and by thinking about everything I'm doing wrong,
Right.
I'm being narcissistic. There's another thing I'm doing wrong.
I thought
here.
I said it was being altruism, but it really wasn't. It was me thinking only
Exactly.
about me.
Yeah.
Right? And there are people who think that if you are like any like acts of charity or volunteering is
Yeah.
which are altruism, well, it's actually about you because it's making you feel better. Well, I mean, get over it.
Yeah,
but like that exact sentiment of like the get over, like clearly there's a little bit of like me attention here. I think.
mean,
Well, I will say I understand what I'm saying sounds insane. I can guarantee anyone else who was raised evangelical is going to be like, I feel seen and heard in this
I
moment.
don't think what you're saying sounds insane at all. I think that makes a lot of sense in the context of the song because it is exactly that. It's like here, like, I think I have this slight problem. I'm going down this thing and like now, oh my gosh, like, am I just talking about myself? Like, it is this like unspiraling anxiety of like, I think the covert narcissism, the word covert is key there because she is saying it's covert narcissism. And we're like, it's not that covert. It's like, it feels obvious, but now you're questioning is the motive behind that. Like, was that insecurity? Like, is like, are you saying that to be manipulative or are you saying that because you genuinely believe is the problem? I think we are getting to the motive behind. Do you actually think you're the problem or are you just saying pick me like clearly I'm the problem but you don't actually believe it? Because whatever's behind
I think
those
this
words.
person. I just read the sexy baby verse. Like this person.
Yes.
I agree. This is
that
authentic, self-reflective shit.
I think
anxiety.
you're right. I agree. Like that verse in particular is a brutal, like devastating kind of verse. But then there's also like the sense of I survive and I continue and like a pride that's layered under there that I feel like I'm reading of like
See, I read it as sad.
Yeah.
I see darkness here. I see a sense of I kind of sometimes wish that I would just be killed.
Pierced through the heart but never
Just
killed
end
is
it.
devastating to be constantly wounded.
Okay,
and
I guess
hurt
I'm
and in
waiting to
pain.
see if in the second half of the song there's like a
This is the second
comeback
half of the
and
song.
redemption. No, keep going. Okay, like we're
This
not
is the
done yet.
second
I'm
half of the
still-
song because we have Tale as Old as Time, and then it repeats. I wake up screaming from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving, and life will lose all its meaning for the last time. And then
So
we
that
have the
does
chorus
change.
for the
To go
last
from
time.
no, it goes
Oh
because
yes,
it was
well, life will lose all its meaning.
yes, which is intense.
Again, going back to the pierce through the heart but never killed. Like I think it keeps getting darker.
Yeah, I agree. And again, there's this sense of, though, it's my fault. Like, what I'm hearing in the song of It's Me, I'm the Problem, all of her darkest fears are every problem I experience is actually my fault. I have done this to myself over and over again, that no man has left me because he did something wrong. He's left me because of my scheming. So it's because of me. I did this every single time.
The definition, I guess, for me and anxiety is like I am the problem, but also I have no control, and I don't know how to change it, or I don't know how. Like I can't get through things, and now I'm in my head. I'm sorry.
Pause. Reframe, recalibrate. Can I ask a question that maybe will help take you out of this? But like,
Sure.
What is the altruism here? Where she's saying I disguise as altruism. Did we miss that earlier in the song? What part feels like altruism?
I don't know that it's specifically in the song. I go back to just the idea of giving back or supporting other people, or these things. The idea that you can do things. Like an anti-hero is someone who does good things, but for themselves, not for other people. And you could say that giving to charity and giving your time and giving back to people is for them, but maybe it really feels good. It makes you feel good, or it makes you look good. So it's really not, it's covert narcissism disguised as altruism. Right? Like a congressman, if I go back to the idea of like some kind of congressmen are supposed to be of the people, for the people.
Yeah.
And yet they are often doing things for their own benefit. I mean, they get healthcare and pension for life, even when they are no longer in that job. Like, I would venture a guess that most congressmen aren't doing it for the good of of their constituents. It's instead for getting their name and getting prestige, and then healthcare, because
it's just because it said, did you hear, that made me think like, was it something that was mentioned in the song? And so actually, like, when I'm looking at the last two verses, I read the "It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me" verse as the narcissism, and then what I actually just mentioned was that like slight pride that I'm hearing at the end of "too big to hang out, slowly lurching towards your favorite city, pierced to the heart but never killed." Is that the altruism, where it's like, I can't even hang out, but I keep going on tours, like lurching towards your favorite city, like for the people, for the fans, pierced through the heart, but you can't kill me. Like I'll do it no matter what in my bleeding, broken-hearted state. Is that the altruism?
I can do it with a broken heart. She's so altruistic. I think that argument's definitely there.
Yeah. So then we have the chorus again, and then what I would call another verse, or like a pre-bridge, say. I don't know. I have this dream. My daughter-in-law kills me for the money. She thinks I left them in the will. The family gathers around and reads it, and then someone screams out, "She's laughing up at us from hell."
This is such an intense bridge.
It gets more and more and more intense.
But in the music video, she made this scene so funny, which is interesting that she did that, because in the music video, she left everything in her will to a like cat rescue.
Yeah.
And so then that's why they're mad at her.
Is this for satire? Was that one of the episodes?
No.
That music video is satire. I'm like, it could be.
Yeah.
Like, this entire song could have a satirical take on it, and I need 2 more hours to be able to do that, but
And I can't give you that because it's 9:30 and it is past my
maybe
bedtime.
Jody's about
maybe
to
I'll
leave.
volunteer on the
Yeah.
Substack.
Maisel's gonna finish the episode for me, guys.
No,
She's
we're not gonna
licking
do
my
that.
feet right now, by the way. It's very
But
cute.
I just think that there's something there to keep in mind, that the way that she chose to portray this in music video was satirical. I think that is important.
But the start, I
But
have
yeah.
this dream. The start, I have this dream. Again, we're
Yeah.
going right back, and we
I
are in
have this
therapy. I
dream,
have this
yep.
dream. Unless she's Martin Luther King,
Yeah.
she's in therapy.
Or Mother Willow, Grandmother Willow, and Pocahontas, because she has a dream of a spinning arrow.
Just Disney episode.
Yeah. My daughter-in-law kills me for the money is the next line.
Well, she just said she's pierced through the heart but never killed, and here she goes. In her dream, she is killed.
By a daughter-in-law, no less, which is hilarious. There's so much to unpack there with the daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
You know, she thinks I left them in the will.
I mean, this is straightforward. This is straightforward storytelling. The family gathers around and reads it, and they're like, oh my God, she didn't leave it for us. She's laughing at us from hell.
And see, I think this is part of why, to me, the monster is her public persona. And this idea of she was killed for the money. So, like, she wasn't killed because of herself. She was killed because of this monster that has become of her and pierced through the heart and never killed. That even when she was killed, in this case, through her will and through her legacy, they still can't get what they want because there is a part of her that is outlasting her physical life.
I'm also in the context of this altruism, like thinking that her daughter-in-law killed her because she actually thought that they would be in the will. And she's like, why would you think that you would be in the will? She's not that altruistic. And
except she left it to a cat rescue, so she is that altruistic.
Well, that's not in the song lyrics, Jody.
Okay, but like, if your daughter-in-law's killing you for anything and it's for money, then she doesn't deserve it.
Sure. But I'm just saying that the disguise, remember, she says, I disguise as altruism. And I think there's something there to like, the fact that she left her kids with this impression that they would be in the will. She's like, I tricked y'all. Like, she's laughing at them up from hell. Like, it's disguised.
We're gonna disagree on our purpose.
I think what's interesting is with the mirror concept. So I'm still thinking about last week's episode, which I will be for a long time. Mirrors was very fascinating, and I think I have some self-reflection to do. But the idea of how you portray yourself, how people see you, and there's something here of, are they seeing her? Are they seeing the monster? And how she is seeing herself of, oh, there's no way that I'll have a daughter-in-law who loves me because I'm a monster on a hill. That fame corrupts, money corrupts. There's no way to be a good person who has money, so then I'm a bad person. But then who's defining who's a good person? Who's defining who's a bad person? How do you decide how to see yourself? We talked about this in Tied Together with a Smile, but there almost is this sense of fragmented identity in the song of, I'm a monster on a hill, but I'm also someone who's really sad about being a monster on a hill. And you talked about Godzilla. Godzilla's not particularly sad about being Godzilla, but in this song, our narrator is sad about it and is wrestling with it. And it's, who am I in this sense of fractured identity?
And it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me, is such a oversimplified way of summarizing all of these anxieties. Like, here we have this deeply, deeply complex, layered anxiety song with so many different fears about who I am, these challenges of what does this person think, what do I think, and yet it is summarized as, it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. And that's the big part of the bridge, right? We talk about the bridge as where we often have something revealed. This song goes on to be just, it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. Everybody agrees, everybody agrees. That's it.
There's a sense in the narrative part of the daughter-in-law where it's almost as if she is projecting a self-fulfilling prophecy of, I am the
Yes.
problem, no one will love me for me, so therefore I am destined to have this outcome,
Right.
but by believing that, I do become the problem because then I won't let people
Right.
in, or I won't actually self-reflect and change. And I kind of said this last time, but there is also this feeling that she is so convinced she's the problem that she won't look in the mirror, because her to me, the core emotion of this song is absolute terror and fear of what she is capable of, or who she is, or what her actual identity is. And so by not looking in the mirror, she's convinced herself she's this monster, and maybe she is, maybe she isn't, but she hasn't looked in the mirror. At no point in the song does she look in the mirror and
Right.
say, okay, but what's actually true?
You'll
What do I
never
actually
solve it
see?
if you
Yeah.
actually if you don't look in the mirror. And like, she's using all of this therapy world language. I have this thing, sometimes I have this dream, and yet is never it's like she never lets her therapist speak to like actually process it, which is funny for me to say, because so I've been with my therapist since I was 15, like my same therapist, and she tells me now, she's like, basically for all of high school, like I didn't get my therapist didn't get a word in because I would just come sit down and talk. And she's like, and I knew that's what you needed. You needed to just have a safe space to talk. But she's like, I didn't really get to say, we didn't really process because you weren't ready for that. You just needed to like
Unload.
unload and let it out. And that was the purpose. And so that's kind of, I mean, this is kind of my purpose of this song, I guess I'm getting to. Like, it's just getting it all out there, but not actually processing the emotions or what this all is to actually get to the bottom of it, to actually fix and change anything.
I think I have my purpose because I had a breakthrough in that last bit. And I think it is actually, so this is kind of going back. I've been questioning two questions this entire time we've been talking. One of them was, why is our music video a satire? The second one is, the line that keeps repeating is, it must be exhausting, always rooting for the antihero. Who is rooting for the antihero? Is she rooting for the antihero? Is her therapist rooting for the antihero? Are we rooting for the antihero, the fans? Who is rooting for the antihero? And the line that she says, like, when we talk about like the I, the you, whatever, like there's a lot of I's here. There's a lot of me talking about me. And then there's everyone. Everyone agrees, and things that everyone agrees on. I think, and let's see if I'm actually able to articulate this because it's a little like jumbled in my head, but I think this song is about, similar to Blank Space, another one of her satirical songs. It is exclusively about everything else that other people think motivate her. Like, we're trying to get to the motives of the antihero, right? Like, you have a hero and you're doing it for the wrong reasons though. And all of the stories about her that are written, like, she is afraid of getting old, which she has admitted, by the way, of her just being afraid of getting old. But it's like, why is she doing this thing? Is it altruism? Is it because she thinks that she's good and like too good? Is it because she just like really believes in herself? Is she actually doing this because she likes music, or is she just in it to make money, or is she actually care about the fans? Anything that she says, no matter what she says, can be misconstrued for something else. And so especially at the end when she repeats it 3 times, it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. It's almost like her just introducing herself to all the different audiences of just like, hey, like whatever your version of me is, whatever you think my motivations are, everyone just thinks that I am doing this for some reason that's not the right reason. Like, everyone's got their own versions. It must be exhausting, always rooting for the antihero. And like, yet here I am. Like, I am here. I am still doing what I'm doing. None of y'all will ever know why it is that I do what I do. And you all think that I'm always doing it for the wrong reasons. And man, that must be exhausting for you, always rooting for the antihero. That's my thing. So I actually think it's less of like a self-pity song and a little bit more of a satire at like how maybe everyone else sees her, and how she has to just deal with the fact that no matter what she does, people will misunderstand her motives.
I think I'm actually, yet again, in this conversation a little bit between the two of you, because I do think she is clearly calling out, yes, what people say about her at tea time. But I do think there's a sense in this song of her being like, oh, this is what everyone says. And then these moments of like, but what if they're right? What if he does leave because of my scheming? Life would lose all of its meaning. But, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, blah, blah, blah. But like, what if they're right about that? Like, there's, I think, a sense of, and I mean, I get it. If I was reading news articles every day that was like, Jen only does this for this reason, eventually I'd be like, am I? Am I actually? You would start to question yourself if you hear that all the time. Don't be left to your own devices. Put it down. But I think she is clearly calling out what the narrative around her is and saying, sometimes midnights are my afternoons. Everyone I've ghosted is standing right there. And in the middle of the night, I think, am I a narcissist? Am I actually not doing any of this for the right reason? And then that's where you have those spiral
Right.
moments.
Are the things that they say about me actually true? Do I
Yeah.
believe them? Right? There are those moments where you're like, wait a second. Like, you get a bad review, or I remember once at an old job, they said I was negative, and I was like, I had never gotten that feedback before, that like I was negative and that my negativity colored other people's and like, I was like, me? I'm negative? Am I negative?
Yeah.
And it took until going to my next job where it was a much better environment, where I was like, that environment was the problem. That culture was the problem. Like, if I was negative, it wasn't me, it was the culture that kind of made me that way. But also, like, I felt like I was gaslit. That wasn't
Yeah.
actually so. And that's a word we actually haven't brought up yet today. Gaslighting, like how much of all the things that everybody or what other people think of is other people making you think this, but it's not really what's going on. I had written down, actually, as I was preparing, what I wrote down is not, it's not exactly what you said, Monzik, but I wrote down, like, this is a very internal song. It's in her own head, but it's concerned with everybody else and what they
Mhm.
think and feel. So it's what the other people are thinking and feeling, and how that's making her think and what it's making her feel. And again, that's like the definition to me. That's what anxiety feels like to me.
Yes. I mean, I definitely feel the anxiety in it, but I think this is where like the satire cuts that a little bit, right? Like I think there's also like an element of like, what do others think that I feel like? And there's a lot
Yeah.
of this like she's crazy narrative that's also out there, right? Like she's obsessed with what other people think about her, and like the like driving the boys away, like
Mhm.
she's
Yeah, the
crazy
blank
and like
space
a
side.
mastermind, and like that's what causes the guys to leave. Like even the thing where I get older but not never wiser, whatever. I think like the point is almost like you all will never know what motivates
Right.
me throughout this song. So like maybe you are thinking about this. Maybe there's always a little bit of truth under satire, right? And there's like seems to be a deliberate choice to make everything over exaggerated. And so maybe if we peel
Interesting.
back those layers, there is a level of truth there, but it's almost like even the parts of her being vulnerable and self-thinking is just other people's projections on her. And like the reason that I'm going down this path is really just it must be exhausting always rooting for the anti-hero. And I just have to question like who is the one that's rooting. And I feel like that's one moment where she's talking to the listeners. Like if the motivations are wrong and if the motives are wrong, then why do you keep rooting? Like it must be tiring. Unless it's her rooting for herself, in which case
It might be.
it might be.
Well, and some of it too is sort of, like I said, self-fulfilling prophecy. If everyone says you're too big to hang out, eventually you are too big to hang
Right.
out, and then you don't have those friends. I remember, and being honest about your depression is really hard. I remember one time telling some friends that I was struggling with depression, not you two, and I got no response. I like said it in a group chat to some friends and said, "Hey, I'm really struggling with depression. Just wanted everyone to know if I'm not available, I'm going through that." And no one responded. And that was really, really painful.
I'm
And
sorry.
it's okay. I talked about it in therapy. I had this thing where sometimes I tell friends I'm depressed and then they just ignore me. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm ignorable. It was brutal, but that is that sort of like, okay, well, maybe I am. And then it was like, well, maybe I'm being a narcissist. Because then you start thinking, am I crazy? Like, am I in the wrong here? And thank God my husband was in the chat.
Am
'cause
I
was
the
like,
drama?
it was truly like, am I the problem? Was it wrong of me to bring that up? Was I putting too much on? I started like really spiraling, and bless Chris for being like, no,
No.
you said it very simple, and it was wrong of them to not respond. That was very, like
Yeah.
he supported me. But I still, to this day, when I was in therapy, I didn't go into it saying, I'm mad at them. I said, did I do something wrong? Should I have not done that? How can I do this better in the future? Because I must be the problem.
Yeah.
So I get that here where it's like everyone is saying that, but then it happens so many times. You
Yeah.
start to wonder, like,
You're like,
okay,
wait a second.
clearly this is me. Clearly I'm the problem here. And sometimes, yes, I am the problem. And sometimes other people are.
Yeah, I love the idea of just like introducing yourself as the problem, though, of like, hi, like we just met. You don't know anything about me, but I guarantee like the conclusion you will come to is probably that I'm the problem. Like there's something a little defensive about that. And that's how we end, by the repetition of like, it's me. Hi. And that is really the heartbreaking part of the song, right? Like when you like listen to the song, like something about that repetition is very gut wrenching, of like just internalizing that I'm the problem. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. But I think that there's something there to the satirical layer, either in the video or there's something that there's like a layer of abstraction that's being added. And the question that I have to say is just like, it must be exhausting. To me, it's like almost like a back off. Like, stop thinking about the motive. Just stop. There's no point. Like, what's the point?
Well, and I think this, to maybe tie it all back, the fact that we start about midnights become my afternoon and the graveyard shift, and I have this dream. All of this song is placed in the middle of the night, which that is the point of the day. Well, not, the point of the 24-hour period where if you wake up at 3 a.m. or you're up at 3 a.m., you spiral. You start
crazy
wondering,
thoughts.
well, yeah. And so if this song was placed, if we were getting timestamps of this being in the middle of the day, it would feel very different to me than the fact that this is midnights are my afternoon. This is me in the middle of the night.
The opening song for her Midnights album, I think, was really key, right? Like just a strategic placement of the song of like, let's just open with cleaning the air. I'm the problem.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, her first single.
Yeah.
Well, I have this thing where I turn into a pumpkin after 9 p.m., so I can't wait.
Wait, was this her first single or was Lavender Haze her first?
This was the first single. Apparently, Lavender Haze was supposed to be the first single, which is why it starts out with Meet Me at Midnight. Lavender Haze is also the first song on the album. But
I thought this was the first, that was a mistake.
It was the first single. Antihero is the first single that she released. And this is also, if we ever get to our Midnights deep dive, we'll talk about this. But this was the first time where kind of she had asserted more control over what is her first single. They didn't necessarily, I think her label didn't necessarily think that this was the most playable first single.
Well,
which obviously they were wrong. Yeah, but because it was so introspective, right? Lavender Haze is a bit more wistful and palatable, I'd call it. This to the hour and 15 minutes that we've spent like talking about our own anxieties and depressions about this song, like this is a heavy song. And so for this to be the introduction to an entire album is a lot. And I think even with the music video, there was a scene cut from the music video where she's weighing herself on a scale and it comes up as fat or obese, and there was a lot of backlash that like obviously she's not fat, and so she had to take it out of the music video. But I think that's very self-referential to like, she can't catch a break. Everybody has opinions about who she is and what she should be saying about herself or what she should be doing. And so anyway, all of that is to tie it up with a bow that yes, this was the first single. I have this thing where I turn into a pumpkin after 9 p.m. So I can't wait to watch this back and watch my eyes. Like, I think I just started getting lower.
We were like 2 stanzas in when Jody gave the bat signal for like, y'all need to pick it up. So
I didn't know that
1 hour later.
I didn't know that Chip was my bat signal. I love that you guys know that.
It's when you make the absurd statement that like possibly cannot be the thing. You're like, I'm over this topic. Move on.
Yeah, that was trying to be like, sure, screw it. It's about Beauty and the Beast. Move on.
I'm the problem. It's me.
To be known is to be loved, Jody. Well, we will catch you next time after we record in the daytime, where we will be over-analyzing and deep-diving more Taylor Swift music here on AP Taylor Swift.
That's all we have for you today on AP Taylor Swift.
Be sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. Follow us across socials at AP Taylor Swift. Stay up to date.
Join us next time as we overanalyze the next Taylor Swift song on AP Taylor Swift.